Good morning. So today we're going to be learning about the introduction to trigonometry. We're going to start pretty simple by just identifying the different sides of a triangle based on a given angle. So as you notice in this first triangle in your notes, there is an angle that's highlighted and it's blue. So I'm just going to point that out so that you know which angle I'm talking about. In each of the triangles today, there's going to be an angle that is blue, and that's the angle that we're going to be basing our sides off of. Now, in every single right triangle, there are 3 different sides, and they're named based off of the angle that we're talking about. So we're going to start with the most obvious side, I think, and that's the side that's opposite of this first angle up here. So if I thought about that angle that's blue, and I said which side would be opposite of that angle, opposite really just means in this term the side that's across from it, and the side that is across from that angle or opposite it is side 16. I'm just going to go ahead and erase that line that I made there just so that it doesn't get confusing when we go ahead and write more things down later. But the opposite side to that angle would be side 16, just because it's directly across from that angle. So opposite because it's across from it. So that's our first one that we can identify. Side 16 is opposite. Now, there's another side that's really easy to identify here, and it's because it's the longest side in our triangle. We've dealt with this the past couple of days. We know that the longest side of the triangle that's opposite of that 90-degree angle, we call that the hypotenuse. It always has that name. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and erase that arrow so that we don't have too much to that picture. This side is called the hypotenuse because it's the longest side. Every single time when you get a right triangle, the longest side is your hypotenuse. So that one's also pretty easy to identify. The hardest one to identify is called the adjacent side, which is why I always save that one for last. So we know opposite is 16, hypotenuse is 34, but the adjacent side is 30. You may have heard of the word adjacent before. Adjacent just means next to, and 30 is really that side that sits next to your angle. Side 34 also sits next to it, but because side 34 is the longest side, that must be our hypotenuse. So it's adjacent because it's next to that angle. And those are the 3 different classifications that we're going to be using today when talking about our right triangle sides. So we're going to try a couple of them together. And today's not really a whole lot of math involved. It's more just identifying so that we can get to the math next class. So let's do problem number 1 together. Again, I gave you that angle. I'm just going to highlight it so that you know I'm talking about this angle up here. So this guy is where we're focusing on. Based on that blue angle, we're going to start by talking about the opposite side. Opposite means across from. Well, across from that blue angle is side 24. It's on the other side. So where it says opposite in your box, you're going to write the number 24 because that's your opposite. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and erase that. The next one is the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is your longest side, we said. So the longest side of this triangle is 30. And that means that the adjacent side has to be the last side that we didn't use yet, which is 18. And that's it. That's all you're doing, guys, for every single question today. So we're going to do a couple more together. If you feel like you need the help, you can stay and watch the video. If you feel like you're good, you can go ahead and try up to 14 on your own. Number 2. So this time my angle is up here, angle 2. We're going to start with opposite. So opposite means across from. If I go directly across, I hit side 20. So 20 is my opposite. And I'm going to erase that so we have room. Then I need the hypotenuse. Remember, hypotenuse is always the longest side, so that has to be 29. And since I've already used 20 and 29, the adjacent side has to be 21 because it's right next to my angle. Number 3. So my angle is up here. Notice that the angle keeps moving, guys. That's because every triangle is different. So we always look for the same stuff. Which side is opposite or across from angle Z? Opposite would just be 24. Notice that the hypotenuse is the longest side of our triangle, which has to be 40. And that means the last side, the adjacent side, right next to angle Z, is side 32. Okay, last one that we're going to be doing together is number 4. So my angle is down here at Z. Opposite means across from, so across from angle Z is side 21. And I think it's helpful to draw the arrow so you can see what side is really across from it. After that, you want to look for the hypotenuse. The longest side of my triangle is 35. That's the biggest number. And then the last side is 28, which is my adjacent side because it's right next to angle Z. Okay. The last 2 questions on here, 15 and 16, are just a review from a couple of classes ago where we were talking about radicals. If you need help, look back to the radicals review notes and look back to the video that was posted on that day to help you. This is just a review of rationalizing the denominator. And that's it. Thanks, guys. If you need help, I'm on Zoom as always.